Lindsay, at the end of this, or Christina, will we know how many people are actually watching?
We will know during and afterwards, because
Okay.
Yep. That's a cool thing. Oh, admit some more people. Christina, do you see it up on? Oh, there you are.
Everyone should see participants at the bottom with a number.
Yep, that's 26.
Right, you got it.
Okay.
Hi.
Okay.
Hi.
Oh, hello. Okay. We'll give everybody here a couple minutes.
Lindsay, can you ask everybody to mute themselves?
Yep. Yeah. Anybody who's joined, if you can go ahead and just mute yourself, that would be lovely. And we can just unmute when we're ready to speak. Give people a few more minutes here.
Are you live on YouTube?
Yes, it should be up on there.
Yourself.
Do you see it?
I do not. But I'll look. Hold on.
Yep, it says there's 6 watching. Me and Christina are at least 2 of those. So 4.
I'll admit I'm one as well.
Oh, 3.
So I tried to access YouTube and it says there's no content.
Because we just started it. So I don't know if maybe
HOA.
it's a delay, but it should be up and running now.
Okay.
Let me grab the link for you.
I took it out of the email.
Yes. I'm wondering if it was just the delay. Okay, I will send out a chat here. Or maybe
Seems to be on
Christine, hey
YouTube.
Christina, can you send out a link to the YouTube just to everybody in the meeting? Because I'm still admitting people. Oh, we got 2 chats. Oh, looks like Steve Curtis. Thank you, Steve Curtis.
Don't know if I have one yet. That's what I'm saying. Like, so it's all part of real-time discovery. That's why we're having this, at least starting this dialogue. I want you guys to start thinking about your own internal.
Okay.
Motivation.
I'm gonna go ahead and mute all because I think we're still getting some people. While we get everybody in.
Definitely people's conversations are.
Yep. So I muted everybody, and you should be able to unmute when it's your turn to speak, and we'll just go from there. Okay, I think looks like most people have joined. We might get some few people in, and I will admit them to the meeting. But Dan, you should be able to unmute yourself and get our meeting started. Oh. Dan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, I'm looking for Dan Batters. Let me unmute you, Dan.
There we go.
There
I
we
finally
go.
got a message to unmute. Okay, thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. All right. I would like to call this annual meeting to order at 7:04 PM. And Lindsay, what board members are present?
Well, I've been admitting a lot of people. So I'm just gonna go through everybody, and if you can just let us know that you're here. I see Sheila, I see myself, I see you, Dan, and I don't see anyone else. So if any other
Terry's
board
on.
members, Terry's on.
Terry's on, Jan is on.
Great. Thank you.
John's on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Jerry, you're
Okay.
still here?
Lindsay,
Yep.
if you go into participants and you hit that button, you can scroll down the list.
Yes. But I know some people may or may not have their name on there.
Okay. Well, anyway, we do have a quorum of the board assembled. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So let's proceed with, I'm going to open the meeting. I'd like to welcome all board members and homeowners attending this meeting. And with that, the first item on the agenda will be election results. And Lindsay, I'll let you lead that.
Sorry.
No problem.
Hold on one second. Sorry, we're prepping the coffee for tomorrow morning in the background. All good.
All right.
Apologies to anyone with all the noise. So we are going to go through the election results. And how we'll do this is I'll go ahead and read the ballot item, and Nancy Lavoie from CMI will share the results. None of the board members know the results, so we are finding out at the same time as everyone, which is a bit more like our traditional meetings where we vote in person. I did want to point out that we had 532 homeowners vote online. That is over 81% of our community voted on the electronic ballot. And we had 31, I think, Nancy, I don't know if there were any additional ballots. The last count, it was 31 paper ballots. Oops, that were
Yes.
that were
that's-
mailed in. So that
that was
brings
the
us to
final
a grand total of 563 votes, homeowner voters. That's over 86%. So I think it's pretty fair to say that that is a really good take from all the neighborhood on these ballot items. So I'm so excited for the participation. And I appreciate everybody for their patience through this process, because it was a fairly new process for us. And a lot of good things came out of it, including tracking down current email addresses, which we'll talk about later. But let's get to these results. So the first ballot item was what we were calling Measure 120, which was an increase of our annual assessment by $120 to a new total of $670 annually, taking effect on November 15th in 2020. Because this is in our CCNRs, it requires a vote of 2/3 majority of the voting quorum. So Nancy, if you want to unveil the results.
Yes. With 466 votes in favor, Measure 120 passes.
Awesome.
What was the number again, Nancy?
466 votes in favor.
Okay.
Okay. Now we'll move on to Measure 3. So this measure allows the board to increase annual dues once per fiscal year by anywhere from between 0 to 3% to cover inflationary operational costs without having to conduct a vote by homeowners. And that would take effect August of 2021. This would require a modification to the CCNRs, requiring a vote of 75% or more of the voting quorum. So go ahead, Nancy, with the results.
On measure 3, there were 350 votes in favor and 209 opposed. So that measure did not pass.
Okay. The fence height policy. This was submitted via homeowner petition to modify our existing fence height policy, adding an exception to allow for 7-foot fences. It would add the statement of Oak Hills homeowners who share a fence with another homeowner can build that fence to a height of 7 feet, provided both neighbors agree. Only the section of fence shared by 2 agreeing neighbors can be 7 feet, not fencing facing the green space or the street. This is a policy change and requires a simple majority of just over 50% of homeowners voting.
So there were, on this measure, there were only 532 votes cast either way.
Okay.
But 421 of those were in favor, and so that measure passes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
The next one is approval of the 2019 annual meeting minutes. Requires a simple majority of just over 50%. Go ahead, Nancy.
We had 509 votes in favor, so those are approved.
Okay. The next item was the IRS Revenue Ruling 70-604, which is a tax election that allows an association to take advantage of a lower tax rate. This is also a simple majority. And Nancy, the results?
And we had 525 votes in favor,
Okay.
so that is also approved.
Got it. And the last item were for the 4 board director vacancies. Myself and John Cole have completed our 3-year commitments and we are not running. And we had also openings due to the resignations of former directors Annie Hogan and David Boyd. We had 4 candidates. I don't know, Nancy, if you want to unveil those results.
Well, as expected, those 4 candidates have been elected to serve on the board, Jim,
Okay.
Wes, John, and Dusty. I did want to mention that there were 19 write-in candidates.
Wow.
And
Oh.
that was of note, that there were 19 other members of the community who would have been willing to serve on the board. Good information to have for next year.
Wow. Okay.
Perfect.
Did those all come through our online vote, those names?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so those are in the data we'll get.
yes.
And just speaking of which, I just want to make sure all homeowners know, we do not have access to how individual homeowners voted. We don't have access to whether you voted yes or no on something. All we have is who voted, period. And then obviously the results, but we cannot connect the two. So I just want to make sure that it's clear to everybody. And that's also another reason why we asked Nancy and CMI to help with the paper ballots, again, to kind of keep the separation and make sure everything is fair and balanced. Okay.
All right. Well, so Lindsay, you will certify the vote as the secretary and with Nancy's numbers?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So as far as the annual meeting goes, the measures that were voted on and passed or failed in the election of directors will accept the results as the will of the homeowners and move on from there.
And I have a question from the YouTube. The YouTube, did I just say that?
Yeah.
The question from a homeowner is, will the board members actually get the names of the write-ins so that we can possibly look at them for committees or something?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or anything on this one? Okay. What I'd like to do then is just move directly to director updates. And the first person I'd like to call on is John Cole, our Director of Maintenance, who in about less than an hour will have finished his term. And I want to say thank you to John for a great effort and a lot of time spent on the board in handling and working with homeowners. And so, John, if you, in your 4 minutes or so, if you'd like to give everybody an update as far as the maintenance department.
Okay. The transition we made earlier this year in going 100% with Sunny's to handle our landscaping and maintenance as far as the grounds go, I think was a great move. Our timing, with COVID coming on, would have kind of forced that anyway, probably. But Sunny's, I think, is doing a great job, taking a lot of pride in what they're doing. And I'm very satisfied with the work they're doing. They're doing things I ask. And once I give them a task, they fit it in when they can. So I think the grounds look good. And I think most comments I've received have been very good about that. I'm not going to be running off exactly right away. I want to help whoever takes over the maintenance department transition into that, because they're going to have to keep developing how we handle our maintenance, since we don't even have a maintenance employee right now. We have a part-time person taking care of the bare essentials, but we need to decide how much of an employee we really need when we do reopen. So I won't be going anywhere, and I'm still going to be available to help them. So it's been enjoyable. I'll probably be around it as long as I'm in the neighborhood. I'll probably still be doing little projects anyway. I kind of like doing that stuff. So it's been great working with all the board members, and Nancy especially has been very helpful whenever I've asked for any financial type stuff. So it's been a good time. And I encourage anyone, and I'd love to see 19 people wanting to maybe get on, because I think everybody needs to get on and dig into what it takes to run this place. There's nothing going on here that anybody's trying to spend homeowner money unwisely, but it's just necessities that we have to keep dues up to keep this place in good shape. We cannot do it any other way. So thank you for all your support.
John, just while I've got you here, could you just kind of give everybody an update as to what happened today from the windstorm?
Yeah, so actually there wasn't that much last night. I kind of drove around, there were tree branches down and stuff, but then this morning we had one large oak tree split off and narrowly miss a house, and then left a big chunk of it standing that was not in good shape. So we got a tree company, I don't know how we got these guys available to come over and take the rest of that down, haul that off. While we were assessing that, within 30 minutes, another tree came down right beside it. That one got taken care of. And then in North Park, a big branch came down just straight off an oak tree right onto the sidewalk. And then once again, between the time of looking at it and going back with a second contractor, another branch fell down from the same area. So I was able to get a second contractor to come in and bid that one just a little bit cheaper. But the main thing was we could get them both done today and cleaned up. There's still a number of trees and a number of things in the green space that need to be cleaned up, but they're smaller branches, smaller portions. And I believe we're going to be able to do that with volunteers or temp help to get those cleaned up. So you'll see it'll take a few weeks, I'm sure. Sunny's is coming in Thursday, and they're going to go like crazy. They've told me they have an army to come in here. I think they have 6 guys. I'm thinking she's going to have a few more, and they have a lot of cleanup to do, as you can see. But thank you for your patience in letting them get this cleaned up. But I think you'll see they'll do a good job, and that's all within the contract amount. This isn't an extra charge for them to do this cleanup. So they've been really good to work with on that sort of thing. And the only other thing I guess I should have brought up is, and I put out in the director's update last month, was the yard debris drop box. It'll be up to the next director to decide, but there's a budget on that. And when we reach that budget number, that box is going to be closed. And so fall leaves this year, as you know, Clean Water Services is not coming in to sweep our leaves. So you need to make arrangements on how you're going to dispose of your leaves, whether you get extra containers, put bags out, take them down to Best Buy, take them somewhere, have your yard service do them. We're not going to have that drop box. Likely, we won't have that drop box available. We couldn't handle it. So that's something people need to keep planning for.
John, again, thank you for your service. You've done a wonderful job managing a huge part of the operations of Oak Hills. And I just want to say thank you for your service and look forward to keeping in touch with you and your help in transitioning to our new board member.
Good deal.
All right. I'd like to then go to Sheila. Sheila, if you would, please.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, John, for your service, and Lindsay, as long as I'm at it. And who else is it? David, of course, and I believe it was Annie. All great contributors to the board and all the work that you do. And thank you very much for your service and your time and your commitment, and just an absolute joy to work with. And same thing with you, Nancy. Thank you very much for your commitment to Oak Hills, and I'm going to miss you and miss all of you very much. So since October, so we had our last board annual meeting was in May of last year. A few things happened. We reworked all of the employee codes so that they were easier for the employees to be able to log in and log out, better aiding us in our budgeting process. And we started a program with charting exactly how many homeowners are in the pool at what hours. Have it all on a chart and color coded by day, by weather. And that information was really helpful. In the last homeowners meeting, one of the things that we heard strongly, or Rec heard, is that we needed to be very careful of our expenditures and to try to tighten up the budget some and cut costs and bring in income. And so we did just that. We tightened our belt a little bit, raised some fees a little bit, and cut some expenses where we could. And so we did our part in that budgeting process. Now, because of come October, from October, it was okay. But then once we got into May or into April of this year, as we all know, everything sort of halted to a stop. So we didn't have as many, it's kind of weird time to have this meeting because we usually have it in May. So I'm used to going May to May, but to go May to September is kind of a strange block of time to review. But we did have our harvest party. We did have our holiday party. We added an event called Paint by Victoria that was fantastic. A lot of people showed up. We had an absolute fantastic time. Everybody painted owls and other things. The pandemic hit, our income screeched to a halt. So did a lot of our expenditures, but of course not all of them, because we can't just turn off heat completely. We can't quit doing other things at the rec, like having the water go through the system and still doing some of our flushes in our pool. So still having to pay sewer and all those other costs, but our income dropped dramatically, basically to nothing. So that put us into a bit of a bind on the second half of our fiscal year. But we did add a couple of new renters this year. So that was nice once we were able to bring some renters onto the field. A lot of people are probably noticing that the field rental is really high right now because a lot of the public places are not allowing rentals, and we are with the guidelines. So we're pretty busy 7 days a week right now on the field. We just got word that our biggest renter, I-9, will not be doing their fall program. So that's quite another huge hit to our budget. That's a $9,000 hit. Just from one renter. So that was a little bit disappointing. They also missed the spring rental. That's another $6,000 that will be missing. So rec had a big hit for income this fiscal year. And that was a little bit disappointing because all of those programs really have very little expenditure tied to that income line. I have a number of income lines in recreation that do not have a corresponding expenditure line. And a lot of those sort of didn't happen and we didn't get that income. So that put us into a cash flow issue. But, you know, we just tightened the belts and just quit spending money. Probably our newest, our biggest addition, a couple of additions, we had the Portland soccer program start to rent. We also did USTA for a second year, which is our tennis program. That is an income only program. Homeowners can sign up for a discount and we get a straight income at the end. We don't have to pay any coaches. And that's been a great partnership. We'll be going into year 3 in the next fiscal year there. Again, we updated all our prices and expenses. I'm looking over to another computer screen to see my notes. So if you're seeing the side of my face, I apologize. That's why. Going forward, good news today, we were able to open the pool. I appreciate everybody's patience. I got a couple of frustrated emails because our sign up genius got filled quite quickly. As soon as they hit, we're asking people to please not sign up for multiple slots in a day. We're also asking people to not sign up multiple days in a row because there's a lot of homeowners that are going on and there's no extra slots for families to sign up. We are asking homeowners only. That means no guests in order to keep our pool deck at 50. We are going to call the state tomorrow and see if we can, rather than to go to a number of gatherings of 50 or less, to see if there's an occupancy number that we can bump that up a little bit. We are going to be changing the way that we're doing lap swim because currently the last 2 hours only can have 5 people in there an hour. And I talked to Christina today and we're going to be making changes to our sign up to allow more families to go all the way through probably 9:30. We're asking for a $30 donation. We know that a lot of homeowners have hit hard times. And so if you cannot afford to donate $30 towards keeping the pool open in September and October, then, you know, feel free to use the pool for free. We did find a renter for a very good amount of money that is going to cover most of our costs, if not all, and give us a little bit of a bump to our budget line item. At the bottom line will be a net increase, we think, of about $5,000 per month. So that'll give us $10,000 that we lost on our soccer. So that will be helpful. And we will also be covering the cost of the pool with that. But if you can do a donation, that would help.
Another minute 30 left, okay?
I'm basically done. I just wanted to say that, you know, please show up at the pool. And if you can't afford it, just come anyway. We would love to have you jump in the pool on these hot days. And that's the only updates I have. And that's it. Thank you very much.
All right. Sheila, thank you very much for all that you do for rec and the community. And I know we're all looking forward to get past COVID and have everybody back in and using the facility. So thank you. I'd like to call on Jana now. Jana?
Okay, at the RV lot, I drove down there this evening and everything looks in pretty good shape. I didn't see any trees coming in over the fence, and the people that do have the tent structures do need to put their tarps back. They've blown off in some cases. I've been very pleased with Sunny's, all the things I'd been hoping for and working with Christina prior and with John with trying to trim back some of the berry bushes, keep the weeds under control. They've done a great job. They've started to work around the perimeter outside of the fence, and they're going to continue working on that as time allows. I'm sure this storm will slow them down a little bit. We do have big plans of getting a bid for gravel. We wanted to do it this year, and then with COVID, everything came to a screeching halt. And so we're going to find the price and we'll have everyone move out. We'll probably do half of the RV lot and then the other half and cover as much of the RV lot as we can afford in the budget. I'll work with Jerry on that. We do have a wait list. Sometimes people are getting a little upset that there is a wait list. The one thing to mention is I've found a lot of people are buying RVs, trailers, and boats with COVID. So the demand is way beyond it was a year ago because people aren't able to travel like they were. So they're buying a lot of toys. So I do keep track of the wait list. I don't show any preferential treatment. I just keep track of when people requested and the size. And I try to juggle the spaces. And I know people really need to be aware that they need to, when they buy an RV or toy or trailer, boat, any of these things, do arrange for your storage. You cannot keep them in your lot by your house. You can't keep them on the street. You can't keep them on your driveway. So please help Terry and I out so that we don't have to get hot tempers. Really would appreciate that. But I do promise I don't get bribed. I don't play any games with the order. I do it in the order requested. If you are a renter, you do need to request it through your homeowner, and that's on the contract. But I really appreciate Sonny's and all the work they've done, and I'm really excited to get some nice fresh gravel in there. And I'm not sure which month we'll do it, but we'll give people plenty of notice so they can move their RV and boats and toys out, and then we can have a fresh new RV lot for the new year, hopefully. It might happen in spring, might be a better time, but I'll discuss it with our maintenance and John will give us some guidance, but that's definitely on the plans.
Okay.
Thanks.
Jana, are you, I know you and I have chatted, but what about finding some more space for additional art spaces within the RV lot?
So there's potential that there might be an area where we can gain maybe 5 spaces. There might be some drainage there that might make it not possible. There's some different opinions if you can really park over where that drainage is back there, but the people in the garden would like that closed off. They feel a little creeped out that there's that space that people could hide or animals could hide back in the corner in the back, kind of on the neighboring western boundary of the garden and of the RV lot. So that's another dream. There is some concern about spending money, and we definitely would make sure that it penciled out and that rents would cover any money spent or be darn close. And we would use existing fencing we already have. It just would be repositioned, but there would be some grading and gravel cost. So we're going to explore that as well.
Cool. Very good,
This is
Jim.
Terry. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Are you talking about that that open space where the fence goes in and there's just like a dead end?
It's in the back where there was that gate that went to the neighboring neighborhood.
Yeah. So
area.
if I remember correctly, that was like a sewer easement or something like that that we couldn't park or fence in because it had to be accessible. But that's just my recollection. So we should just check that.
Yeah, I've heard 2 different versions of that. So we definitely, I'm not sitting down plotting that it's going to happen quickly.
Yeah.
And we'd make sure that it was okay, but we just try to manage with the spaces we have and fit as many people in as we can.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
And
Hey, Jana, I have a question for you too.
sure.
There's a
Just curious, the number of people who are on the wait list currently, approximate?
I'd have to go over it, but it's less than 10. It usually takes 3 months or more to get into the lot. And then you'll get kind of a rush. You'll have people that sell their home and move out of the neighborhood. There's people that sell their item. And so we run into that. And then all of a sudden you'll have a bunch of openings, and then I'll get a hold of people, get them moved in. I got 3 people moved in this summer, and I was pretty excited about that. And then I've gotten more than that in requests. So I can't tell you exactly the number. I'd have to go through my emails, but there's no space right now. So I haven't been revisiting it. but I'm planning on doing that this month. And we do audit our RV records every year as we get the new contracts, and we make sure that people haven't moved out of the neighborhood and not taken their RV with them. So, yeah, we're not going to audit it every month, but we audit it annually. And I just try to keep my eye on things. I go down and drive through, make sure people aren't going over the line, that people are keeping things in good repair. So we do try to be good stewards of that asset of the neighborhood. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, Lindsay, any other questions for Jana?
Nope, all good here. Thanks.
Okay, Jana, thank you very much for managing the RV lot. And if we can get more spaces in, that's a thing that we should work on. But I just want to say thank you for your efforts. You've done a great job on that. Now, Lindsay, I would like you to give your update. And before that, though, I would like to say thank you, thank you, thank you. You have done a wonderful job as a board member during your term. And maybe the board secretary is an underappreciated position, but you have simply done a wonderful, wonderful job. And I just want to say thank you. And now you have 4.5 minutes to share your thoughts.
Thanks, Dan. No, it's been a really, really good experience. And I so appreciate everybody on the board and who've helped out in committees, who've sent me emails and we've had conversations about the neighborhood. I so appreciate all the help. And it's been a pleasure. It's really been a lot of fun. And I'm really glad I did this. I just wanted to do a quick little recap of a few kind of immediate things. I talked earlier about how many people were able to vote online. One of my key lessons learned from that process was that we should have begun maybe a year or so ago and really combed through our homeowner contact information database a lot better. We had a lot of, and again, I so appreciate everyone's patience with me. I know Nancy's been helping attend with CMI to update people's contact information. And we have over 95% of homeowners' email addresses. We're still missing about 30, but I'm pretty impressed for having out of 650, we're at 95% for email contact for homeowners, which is really great in that it gives us another way to contact people, to engage with people, and to do things like an electronic ballot and have over 80% participation rate. And I mentioned before, we will get from Vote HOA Now, which is the company we used for the online vote, we will get a list of the email addresses for everybody who voted, and we can then compare that to the contact information we have on file. So we have the most current information for people. And I am already offering up my help to do that because I feel just so important to have current contact information for homeowners. And the many people that I emailed back and forth with were really supportive and appreciative of just getting current information on there. So they can be in the loop on things like our newsletter that goes out, not only printed to homeowners, but electronically as well. And information about rec and other events in the community. So I think that's a really a valuable asset that we have correct contact information for people. In my 3 years here on the board, I've done some work not only as secretary, but on committees as well. And I just want to say thank you to all the people who I've worked with. It has been really a great experience, just trying our best to make this community even better. And I think the best part of serving on the board is the other neighbors you get to meet in the process and build those friendships and relationships with. Another person who I cannot thank enough is Christina Matusik. She is a huge help, a huge help. And I hope she always stays. You cannot leave, Christina. I don't know what we would do without you. You are a miracle worker.
No more hot air buried. Yes, I know.
She's been a huge help. I've partnered with her a lot, and especially when I was out on my maternity leave, having my second child. But Christina helps with keeping our website up to date. She helps out with sending out email notifications. She posts really fun and great stuff on Facebook, and really answers people's questions very quickly. And I'm someone who can help with that, but she's the one who's able to really tackle it at any given hour on any given day. And I could not help kind of grow those areas of our community website electronically without her. So thank you, Christina. Another thing we've done this year is we had to put our meetings online through Zoom. So again, thank you to all the board directors and community members who've gotten on this forum. It's been really interesting to see new faces attend the board meetings, new perspectives. I really appreciate being able to kind of force try another avenue of engaging with homeowners and getting people's opinions and hearing their thoughts on how to make Oak Hills better. So I think it was kind of, one of those positive things that has come out of this COVID mess of 2020. So a lot of really good things going on for this community. And I also want to thank the many homeowners who provided countless hours of providing feedback on the different measures and dues proposal increases, who helped myself primarily in combing through what we would, how we could better word things in the newsletter to help share information with homeowners. That was not done solely by the board. We had many homeowners willingly help with that process. And I cannot thank people enough for giving their time and the energy for those efforts. So that I will conclude. I know we have new board directors, but you look forward to, if there's some ways I can help continuing to support the board and Oak Hills. I would love to still remain engaged, just at a different level. So thank you for everybody.
Thank you for your service, Lindsay.
And
yes.
okay, big faux pas. Christina, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. For recreation, there's no way we could do it without Christina. I'm glad Lindsay kind of poked that a little bit. And completely not okay that I didn't mention you and all the other staff that Rec has. Rec cannot survive without the many wonderful employees and volunteers. But man, oh man, Christina, thank you so much for the help that you do on recreation.
Okay.
And,
all right.
And one more thing, same thing for maintenance. And I hesitate to do this because I'm telling you, I probably shouldn't say it, but Christina is like the go-to. And when somebody wants something in Oak Hills, she's the one you go to, and she's helped maintenance. She's almost, I'm not going to say taken over, but she handles a lot of stuff. So I'm not going to say to call her, call the next maintenance director first, but Christina is like a huge, huge part of maintenance as well. So she's indispensable. We really need to put a policy out on her.
Anybody else would like to congratulate Christina?
I would. Christina, real quick, because we have a question that came in about an open forum for discussions of Oak Hills. Again, Christina Matusik is a fabulous sounding board for all things Oak Hills.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'd like to just thank Christina and Eileen. They were instrumental in the billing and records for the RV lot. And most importantly, Christina is constantly having to update the fobs. When people email me, then I email her. She reprograms them remotely. She puts a fob out on her front porch. They go pick it up. People let me know that the gate's squeaking and annoying the neighbors. Christina, I email her, let's get some lube on that squeaky gate. It's done. They're like, thank you, Jana. It's like, it's Christina. So she's the power behind the board. So thank you.
I'd like to just make a comment here, and this is for all homeowners, about Christina. Christina has been an employee part-time with Oak Hills for quite a number of years. And but basically she was focused on rec. I believe Sheila recruited her and that, well, Sheila is more than just recreation. And the board recognized this and felt that Christina could help the entire board and the various departments. So it's not that we have gone out and hired a new person for what we now call a general manager, but it's simply the reflection of our admiration for Christina's efforts on behalf of all departments, not just RAC and the community. And I am just so pleased that we have her on our team. And it's going to be very hard for me to write her a review, which is due next month, after all these platitudes that everybody has given her. But I just wanted to point out that, yes, so we basically took an existing employee and moved her to a new job position. So with that, I'd like to again say thank you to Lindsay. And Lindsay, as a side note, once the director updates are done, I'd like to introduce the new board members. So just to give you a heads up so they can talk and everybody can see who they are.
Sure, that's a great idea. Yep, we can do
Okay,
that.
great. All right, Jerry, if you would talk about our money.
Okay, I apologize. I think my microphone is probably still scratchy, isn't it? Can you hear me? Hello?
We can
Jerry,
hear you, and yes, it's still scratchy.
Oh, okay. I'll be sure. Then let me just thank the homeowners for passing this increase assessment by $120. My blood pressure is already going down, so I appreciate that. And let me assure everybody that all of this money, and I look at this constantly, almost daily, do I check the financials of Oak Hills Homeowners Association. And the entire board treats this money all but sacrosanct. We monitor it very closely down to the individual expenses, and we continue to do so. And I want to assure the homeowners that we don't try to solve problems by only asking for assessment increases. We also look at methods to reduce expenses. We have on the docket already, and we will be pursuing our budget more aggressively, but we've already identified close to $10,000 to $20,000 of expenses we can reduce next year. So that coupled with the assessment increase should get us started in the right direction. Over the past couple of months, I wasn't at the last meeting, but we got the audit, which technically is a review for those of you who are financial and accounting types, completed. It took a little bit longer this year than it should have. We'll complete that much quicker next year. We also, on the financial side, I have convened a committee of financial professionals that are homeowners here in Oak Hills. And I just want to extend my gratitude to them. They are financial professionals, CPAs, auditors in their profession. They are exceptionally qualified and provide all kinds of insight to our financial structure and the way we need to go financially. And just to assure again the homeowners that this is not done in a closet. We are employing some professionals amidst us in our own homeowners to drive the financials of this organization. With the information we get tonight, the passing of the increased assessment, we'll be putting together final budgets for the coming year. That should probably round up here within the next 30 days. And we will be then publishing that all on the website, so I'll be able to take a look at that. And I don't have any other thing that is pressing at this point in time, other than I am very confident at this point that we're not going to run out of cash. It's sad that we have to mention that, but there was a time this year where I thought we might. We won't, and we'll look forward what I would call an acceptable financial footing. With this increase in assessments, we'll get started on it very, very quickly.
Okay, Jerry, thank you very much. And we do have to figure out how we can get you a better microphone for future Zoom meetings. So, but again, everybody, I'd like to just recognize Jerry. He has been simply wonderful in getting a true understanding of our financial situation and how we can better organize ourselves and keep track of our funds. And Jerry, you've done a great job. And except for your microphone, thank you, and looking forward to working with you some more. Okay, now I'd like to turn it over to Terry. And Terry, if you could give us a compliance update.
Yeah, so compliance is pretty standard this year. You know, lots of letters going out about grass and weeds and landscape trimming and that kind of thing. RVs and trailers, as Jana touched on. I seem to be getting quite a bit more homeowner complaints about sidewalks and people actually tripping and falling and being hurt on sidewalks that are adjacent to people's homes. And I've been writing about this in my newsletter articles, but I really want to encourage everyone to realize that the sidewalks are the responsibility of the homeowner. And if anyone falls and gets injured, they may not contact you, but it is happening. And those sidewalks need to be kept in compliance with Washington County Code, which states that, you know, between each panel, there can't be a break of more than a 1/4 inch. So just going forward, we really need to work on sidewalks because we have so many walkers and runners and people riding bikes on our sidewalks around our neighborhood. It's a very popular place. The other thing I wanted to touch on is all the political signs that are in the neighborhood. As I wrote in my last newsletter article, right now we're just in unprecedented times, and we have a policy which allows some political signage. It's supposed to be tied to a specific election, and a lot of the political opinion signage that is now in the neighborhood, there's some disagreement about whether that's actually tied to a specific election or not. And so the board will be discussing this, asking for homeowner input in October and November, so that we can potentially update our policy or clarify how we are going to enforce the CCRs, which is basically, you know, all of our compliance stems from our CCRs. That's a legal document. Everyone that buys in the neighborhood is, you know, has agreed to abide by that. Our CCRs actually state that political signs, well, no signs are allowed, but by board policy, we can allow some signage. For example, if you're doing a remodel and the contractor is doing active work, they are allowed to have one sign so that their workmen can find the location, etc. So anyway, right now we are going to be having that conversation. So I just invite all homeowners to think about that, and you know, please join us in the October and November Zoom board meetings so that you can voice your opinion. The other thing I worked on this past year was the policy committee. We were updating a document that's been updated, you know, over the years since the beginning of Oak Hills, which basically states the CCNRs, but then it adds guidelines to how the current board or boards over the last, you know, decade, 2 decades, whatever, is enforcing that or interpreting that. So there's the legal CCNRs, which we all have to abide by, but then there's also guidelines to help interpret how those CCNRs are being enforced. So that document was completed, approved by the board. It's on the Oak Hill's website. I would encourage everyone to take a look at it. The CCNRs are there, but then in darker boxes are the guidelines. So the CCNRs are the legal requirements. The guidelines are how our board is enforcing that. So that's about it.
Yeah. Terry, again, thank you. You have done a wonderful job with a very difficult topic and department, and your efforts are so appreciated by me, and I know others, and I just want to thank you. All right, I'm going to be the last one to speak, and first I'd like to talk about the Architectural Review Board. For the last 6 months or so, I've been working with ARB until we found new directors. And all I can say is they're simply a wonderful group of people who intimately understand the rules and regulations that are laid out in our CCNRs and our bylaws and different policies, and do the best job that possibly could be done with all the requests that come in from homeowners who want to make improvements on their property. And most people don't realize, but since the time I've been involved, it's amazing how quick the response that ARB gets back to the homeowner with. And I'm simply so impressed because when I joined the board some 3 years ago, that was a major topic of they never heard from ARB, at least in what the homeowner might say was a timely manner. But today they do, and I just want to thank that team. Then, while I'm also here with my time, I want to thank Nancy Lavoie, who has been our community manager for CMI for, I believe, the last 3 years. Nancy is a good friend. She is professional. She is knowledgeable, and she sincerely cares about Oak Hills. However, due to issues beyond Nancy's control, we are changing management companies, and everybody, I hope everybody in the community is aware of this, and we will be ending our relationship with CMI at the end of this month, and a new management company called Association Management Services will be, in fact, contacting you possibly tomorrow via email, and then you'll be receiving a letter in the snail mail, and we're transitioning now from one management company to another. But I do wanted to just call out that Nancy has just been wonderful, and she is a very, very professional woman, and I wish her the best going forward. Okay, so we're done with our updates here. Now, let's go ahead and introduce the 4 new board members. And I just really at this point would like everybody homeowner that's watching to just kind of see who you are. So let me start with John Jellum. John?
Yes.
There he is.
There you are. Ladies and gentlemen, John Jellum.
If everybody puts their speaker, puts it to speaker view, then John will be big in the middle.
Yes, what can I have nothing really to say, but John and I went around and looked at the trees today, and he dumped a lot of work on me.
All right, all right. And again, I just wanted people to be able to see your face and put in a name with a face, and we'll go from there. So thank you, John. Next, I'd like to have Wes Reilly. Wes? Okay, maybe Wes isn't on here. That's fine. Then I would like to introduce Jim Phelps. Jim, are you on?
I'm here. I don't know if you can hear. Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Phelps.
Check out, so let's.
Okay. And then our last board member or new board member is Dusty Smetana. And Dusty, are you around?
Hi, can you hear me?
There you are.
Yes.
All right.
There you
So my
are.
microphone works, but my light bulb is out, so I'm kind of in the dark. Nice to see everybody. Really look forward to working on the board. I've had a great time in Oak Hills and ready to give back some.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Dusty Smetana. And these are the 4 new people that will make up part of the board going forward. All right, now I'd like to move to a homeowner forum and give homeowners the opportunity to ask questions or simply make a comment. But I would like to keep the homeowners' time to no more than 4 minutes. So homeowners and Lindsay, you're going to have to manage this as far as people and recognize people and go from there. So let's move to that portion.
Yep. So we're going to start with people on Zoom. I've got a couple notes of people who had sent chat requests to speak. I'm not sure if they're still, Tom Engel, if you want to go ahead, we'll just go, before you start though, we'll just kind of go down the list here on Zoom of who's planning to speak. And then I know Christina had to step away to address some lights on at the rec. But once she gets back, then we'll also look over anything that has been brought up on the YouTube channel as well, if we need to address that. So we'll just, if everybody can just hang in there and be patient. If you have something to say on Zoom, you can either send me a text chat or you can use the raise hand mark. That's a great way too. And we'll just do our best to get through everybody. Okay, go ahead, Tom.
This is Tom Engel. I was just wondering if a board had ever discussed the possibility of installing solar panels on some of our public spaces. And if they had not discussed that in the past, would the current board be willing to have that discussion?
Tom, on behalf of my view, as far as having that discussion, I think that would be appropriate. I do know that it had been discussed in the past, especially with the building of the new buildings. And other than that, I know very little of what that discussion was, but I'm making a note here. Yes, I think it's something we can investigate and see if it makes sense.
Good. Let me know if you appoint a committee or something.
We discussed putting solar panels on the roof of the gym. And it didn't pencil out at the time because of having to do some budget rework. It didn't pencil out. It wasn't going to make as much money. It was going to take too long for it to pay off. But I know it was discussed because that roof is flat. They could be hidden.
Okay.
So I look forward to a discussion down the road. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Lindsay?
Just along the lines of solar panel, there's a question that came up from Jason. And he had a question here of any update on solar panels. I have a corner lot and all my roof elevations are visible from the row. So Dan, I don't know if you want to tackle that really quick from ARB.
Okay, the best way to approach this, and was it Jason?
Yes.
Yeah, is Jason, submit an application to ARB. Over the last 2 or 3 years, the boundaries or restrictions on solar panels have changed significantly. So I think the best way to answer that is to, again, simply submit an application to ARB, and there'll be a rapid turnaround on it.
And just to add to that, Dan, Jason, on the website, if you go to our document section on the website, we should have the latest variation of our solar panel policy, which has got a lot of detail there if you wanted to check there first.
Okay.
Okay, is there anybody else on Zoom? I don't see any other hands raised. I did have a note from Nope, got that one covered. Steve Curtis, if you're still there, did you have a question? Did you want to address the board? Oh, there it is.
No, my concern was really just about the wait list for the RV lot.
Okay,
Thank
we're
you.
all set there. Yep.
Anything else,
Okay.
Lindsay?
Any other questions from Zoom for now? I don't see any other, well, let me hold on, get my list up. I don't see any other hands raised and I don't have any more notes. So I'm going to, I don't know if Christina is back. Not, I'm gonna take a look over at, Christina, are you back? Let me see if she's on here. No. So I'm going to take a look over here on YouTube and just do a quick scroll. I know many people have been asking about where we'll be posting the results. Again, if you don't know already, I can just do a real quick brief recap of the results. Measure 120, which is the dues increase, that passed. The measure 3, the 0 to 3% increase, that did not pass. The fence height policy to 7 feet passed. Our meeting minutes from 2019 were approved. We also approved the IRS Revenue Ruling 70-604, and all 4 board candidates were elected onto the board. But I know that those results will definitely be in the next newsletter. I would imagine we'll also probably post them somewhere online, possibly even in email. And since this is being recorded, and we'll have this meeting on YouTube, and we'll at least keep it up in the near future so that people can go back and watch the meeting if they weren't able to join us tonight. So with that all said, Christina, did you happen to make it back to the meeting?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Did you make note of any YouTube questions? I just
No.
went through a quick recap of the measures.
Everything was just basically a recap, and then it was also like where we can go to see the results, because we'll post those online. No, they were just individual questions that sometimes I answered because they weren't group questions.
Okay. Well, we'll do a last call for any homeowner comments. Okay.
Lindsay?
Yep. I think
Okay.
we're good.
Lindsay, this is just an administrative thing. I keep seeing little brief notes pop up from different homeowners. Do you see that too?
Yes, the chats.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Because I don't, because whatever I see, I can't read the whole thing. So
Okay.
I hope, it seems that people are volunteering or offering to volunteer or whatever.
Yes.
So,
Many interested people, which is great. Looks like we had some people discussing some options for sidewalk repair. And we had a question about any chance for morning lap swim at the pool.
Right
Sheila?
now, there will be no morning lap swim because we have rented that space out to quite a large profit and allowing us to open the pool. So there'll be no morning lap swim starting Thursday. We don't have a sign up for morning lap swim, but we've decided to put 2 lane lines in, so there will be lap swim available, and to extend, instead of 1 person per lap per lane, we've decided to open it up to 2 people per lane. So that'll be 10 people every hour and a half that can go from 1 o'clock until 9 o'clock and can lap swim, but there will be no morning lap swim. We might be able to have weekends, but the person that's renting the pool is a previous renter, and we're giving him quite a bit of time for quite a bit of money, and so there will be no morning lap swim during the week. There may be some weekend times. He's starting at 5 a.m. and going till 1.
Lindsay, if I may, can you ask or those people that were sending notes that were offering to volunteer or anything like that, if you're interested, would you send me an email of your name and what you would like to possibly help for? That would that be easier? And if it is, if my email is oakhills, HOA president @gmail.com, and it's also listed in our newsletter on our website. So, so if everybody who wants to volunteer or help, even if you have a suggestion or whatever, send me an email and I'll make sure I follow up with all.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, Dan, because it's come up multiple times here of, you know, looking for different ways for people to bring up different issues maybe they see in the neighborhood, or ways or ideas that they have and want to share. You know, connecting with other homeowners and your own neighbors is a great place to start. Also attending the monthly meetings. And I love that, you know, we've been forced to do them on Zoom, which makes it so you don't have to come in person. You can be at your home, but it's a place to check in and see what's being talked about and brought up, and see if there is anywhere where you can help out. And also reaching out to individual directors. If you've got an idea on sidewalks, you know, contact Terry on compliance. And see if there's a way you can help. There has been so many projects that happen because of homeowners who step forward and help. The directors, we can only do so much, and we love any help we can get. But we've had some great committees come together. You know, the few that I worked on included the playground committee, and we had such a good mix of different perspectives and opinions. And I really appreciated that people came forward and were willing to lend a hand. So to those of you who want to get involved, who don't maybe have the time or the bandwidth to serve on the board, completely understand and totally get that. Reach out to board directors and say, I'd love to help with this, or I see this need in the community, or send a note to Dan to help get the conversation started.
You know, I'd like to add to that, Lindsay, that with rec, I would say 90% of our events come from somebody in the community having an idea for something, whether it's a paint event or a party of some kind, or some other desire that a homeowner has, and that we work with Christina and with me, and we're open to ideas and volunteer help with that. The bazaar started that way. A lot of different events start with people coming up with ideas. And I want to commend the people that did were not happy with the fence height situation. So they jumped through all the hoops. They got their petition signed. They got the measure on the ballot. Sometimes I think people come to the board and they get a little annoyed and think that we're being really stiff on things. And Terry has said this a lot of times, we are bound to the CC&Rs. We are bound to previous board policies. And when a homeowner really wants to make a change or make an addition or to do something different than what we work with, they have these different methods of doing it. And we just saw it in this election, and it worked out great. And a lot of people wanted to have that shared fence be higher. And there you go. The Oak Hills becomes what people think we're stuck in the 60s. We're not. We're held by our CC&Rs. And if those need to be changed, it's 75% on a ballot measure. And so, you know, I think it's great that people can get involved and make this the neighborhood they want it to be.
Cool. Very good.
I do have, there's a question or a statement, John Schmidt, if you want to go ahead and take the floor.
Yes, I could go to the back fence and just kind of hollow over at Dan. But I was up at the tennis courts a couple weeks ago, and there's a bench that's on the east side of the court. That bench has been replaced over the years. When it was originally put there, there was a plaque on it. A young swimmer, athlete, Stefan Krabs. I don't know how many people remember him. He passed away suddenly in his sleep, and we put together, or the community put together, that it was Stefan's bench by the tennis court. And I'm wondering if when they replaced the bench, if they kept the plaque. And I'd like to see it replaced. I know it had a picture on there and it might have been faded and everything, but that's always going to be Stefan's bench. I'm just wondering if there's a possibility that somebody saved the plaque. Thanks.
John Cole.
Lindsay, or John, the family of Stefan contacted me, and they are the ones that wanted to refurbish that bench. Why the plaque didn't get put back, I guess you'd have to ask them. I don't know what their plan is. I said, certainly you can refurbish it, refinish it, and I didn't really keep track. I figured that was up to them. They were going to do it. So do you know them personally?
No, I don't. I know they moved out of state.
I'll go back through my emails then and contact them and find out what the story, what the deal was. But it was the family that was coordinating it. So it isn't, anyone on our side that wanted to remove it. So.
Okay, well, great. Thank you for following up.
Yep.
Good question. Any more, Lindsay?
I don't think so. Christina, one last check from anybody on YouTube?
Yeah, hold on a second. I don't think I have anything on YouTube, but I do have multiple people on here and on YouTube who have asked me, how do they make a donation to the pool? So just to let everybody know, when the pool is open during any time, you can come down with a check or cash. We're happy to accept those right away. If you would like to tell us how much you would like to put on your Jackrabbit account, and we can run your credit card if you would like to do it that way as well. Does that make sense? So you could do it at home as long as you let us know. So if you send us an email to oakhillsgm@gmail.com and let me know how much you want me to put on your Jackrabbit account, then you can pay for it online with your credit card through the portal. Got it? Was that confusing?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Any more? Any other questions?
I gotta say, this has been so civilized and positive that, wow, this is the best annual meeting I've ever been to.
Nice job, all of you.
Anyway, okay, let me take it from here. And just so everybody who's still on and watching this, the board at this stage of the meeting, the new members of the board and the existing board and the remaining board members usually would go to a room in the back of wherever, and we would elect there would be an election of directors. And so I want everybody to know that, because I would ask the new board members to stay on this Zoom call. I would ask the board members whose terms have not expired to stay on this call. But at this point, I would like to, and then if anybody would like to then observe the election of directors and see how the behind the scenes works, we can do that. But at this point, I'd like to close the annual meeting portion, and I'm making a motion to do so. And I would like to get a second from one of the current board members. And again, the new board members that are elected are now in effect. So is there a second from a board member to move to adjourn the annual meeting?
Oh, it looks like Sheila's got her hand
I'll
raised.
second.
Okay. All right, great. So all in favor of adjourning the annual meeting and then moving to just the new board for the election of officers, signify yes, raise your hand. And Lindsay, do we have a majority?
Well, let me take a look through here. I see
Yes.
raised hands. Jim. Oh. Dusty, I think you're there.
Anybody in the meeting, it's not just board members. Everybody in the meeting has to do it.
Aha. So there we go. If you all can
All right.
raise your hand, that would be great.
Okay, great. All right, so we're going to close the annual meeting at 8:19 today. And then I would like, Lindsay, if you could stay on board.
Yep.
To help us just.
I have
do
to
the
because
Zoom.
I'm the host.
Yeah, okay, great. So I'd like to then call the meeting of the new board and to discuss the election of officers. So just so everybody knows that the election of officers, why do we have them? Oak Hills Homeowner Association is a limited liability corporation that is set up for legal reasons and for tax purposes. And our rules and regulations and those of the state and other entities do require that in our CC&Rs and bylaws, that there are 4 designated positions on the board that are also officers of the corporation. And just to go through what exists today, as the president of the board, I am also the CEO of the corporation. The board secretary is not only the secretary of the board, but he or she would be the secretary or an officer of the corporation. The treasurer CFO of the board is also an officer of the corporation. And then we have one other position, which is the vice president, who is also an officer of the corporation. So that just explains what this is. So in the past, I'm just trying to think through this. Lindsay, you can help. How did we do this last time? I seem to have drawn a blank.
How did we elect new board
Yeah, I
positions?
did.
It's been done, at least in my time, a couple different ways. There's one where we drew cards and everybody just said what they wanted. Last year, I think that we had 2 directors who just stayed in their current role and we had to fill a spot. This year, we've got the 4 openings, so that's 4 open positions. So we can have people just fill into those positions.
Okay.
I don't know if that
Thank
helps
you.
answer your question.
Yeah, thank you. So let's me offer this. Is there any board member, current board member, who desires to step out of their current position?
Well, this is Jim. Wouldn't we just have an election for president and on down? Shouldn't we, I mean, even though Dan, you're obviously going to be it, shouldn't we formally nominate you and elect you?
Okay, so let's take the president's position. I'm open for that. Okay.
All right.
I'll volunteer to run again or serve as the president. Is there anybody else? Okay, so with the new board, let's have a vote. Does the board agree with that or a vote aye?
I'd like to make a motion. I'd make a motion that we nominate Dan Bathers as the president of the corporation and of the Oak Hills board. Do I have a second?
I
I'll
second.
second that.
We do this all 3 or 4 at the same time.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for your confidence and support. Okay, let's go to the vice president position. Currently, Jerry Reilly was asked to serve both as the CFO or treasurer and VP. And that was simply due to, I am 70 years old. I am afraid one day I'm just going to fall over dead, and we needed to have somebody there. So I'm just being extremely honest and upfront. However, okay, and we had only 7 board members at the time. So at this point, I would like anybody who would be interested in that position to step forward.
If a member says they'll be VP, do they fill also another position?
Yes. Okay. And the VP, and the officers are a position on the board or the corporation. Each officer or each board member will have a department responsibility. So you can wear two hats.
Is there a way we can do this? What do we have? 3 other positions left? We do them all at the same time?
Yeah, we could. Okay, so that's a good point. So, okay, there's that. There is the board. So at this point, we'll come back to vice president. We have the board secretary. Is there anybody that would like to volunteer for, not only you would be the secretary of the board of directors, but you would be the board secretary to the corporation and an officer of the corporation? Is there a volunteer?
This is an open position, right?
Dusty?
Oftentimes, yeah, that wasn't it. Dusty was interested in that.
Yes.
I'm willing to
Dusty,
take it,
are you
yes.
still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. All right.
I'm willing to fill the secretary position. It's kind of my day job, so it's not the most exciting, but unless someone else wants it, I will take the nomination.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to be considered for that position? Okay. Now we're talking about the, let's see, I'm sorry, guys, senior moment. We got the president, the treasurer. Did we get the treasurer yet?
No.
Well,
No.
obvious it's going to be Jerry.
Okay, well, it's whether it's obvious or not, we're just going through the process. So Jerry, are you interested in, okay, so Jerry's there. All right, so now we come back to the VP. Is there anybody that would like to be the VP?
I wouldn't like to, but I'll volunteer to do it if nobody else sets up.
I appreciate that. That was good. Okay. So anybody else?
I'm the current VP. I'll be happy to serve that, but I'm not.
Okay. All right. So we have 3 other people. We have Dusty, we have Jim, and we have.
It's not a taxing job.
Jerry. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So I guess we can vote to have those people take over occupy those positions on the Oak Hills Board of Directors and in the Oak Hills Corporate Board.
What other positions are open to that need to be filled? What other positions need to be filled? Responsibilities. We don't have to elect the people like the RV lot or the.
No. These are officers of the corporation. Okay. We will talk about tomorrow at tomorrow's board meeting, really get into detail about some of the organizational things that we just need to all get on the same page for. And that'll be tomorrow. But this is simply for the election of officers that's laid out in our CC&Rs and bylaws.
There might be some wisdom in having the treasurer and the VP's position split. Although the VP position is not taxable.
Okay, I have no idea what you said, but anybody else?
I think what he said was that he, having the VP and the treasurer split, is that what you said?
Yes.
That he thought that was probably prudent.
Okay, so we have the 3 people. We've talked about the 3 positions. Is anybody else have any other comments or wants to, at the last minute, volunteer? If not, I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor of the last 3 positions and the people occupying, simply say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, there's anybody else?
Nancy, do you need the numbers on that? Do you need the names for each one of those positions or a formal?
I think we do need a formal motion just because there was
a formal motion for president.
So, well, we got yes. So what I have as what the motion could be is to elect Jim Phelps as vice president Dusty as secretary, and Jerry Reeve as treasurer.
Works for me.
If
Yes.
I heard it all correctly. Sheila, are you making that motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
Second it.
All in
All in fa-
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Carries unanimously.
Okay. So it passes. Okay. Gentlemen and lady, or gentlemen, welcome to the board. And the board will be meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. via Zoom. And we're just going to get into a little bit more of the nitty gritty of working together and going forward. I appreciate you guys' efforts already. And unless anybody has any questions, I'm going to move to close this meeting and we'll talk tomorrow. Anybody have any objections to ending our meeting? Oh, I'll take the silence as a no. So I make a motion to adjourn. Sheila, can you second it?
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. All right, adjourn the meeting, and guys, thank you. Love you guys all. Be talking with you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All righty.